Right now, the ANC's special NEC kicks off from tomorrow. The focus is membership audit and nominations ahead of the party's elective Congress in December. Pule Mabe, the party's national spokesperson, joins me now in studio to tell us more. Pule, thank you very much for your time and good afternoon. So why have you brought the NEC meeting, the special NEC meeting, forward?
Well, a good day, Masego, and a good day to your viewers. We have brought it forward to try and expedite the process. Some of your colleagues, when we met at the presser yesterday, talking about the postponement of the briefing to Sunday, did ask a question on whether we'll be able to meet the timelines that were set out. Now, our audit team has been seized with the work, and after the briefing, we gave them feedback, because we also rely on the feedback we get from yourselves, from our own structures. So there's been excellent work done by our audit team. They've been working around the clock to make sure that we are able to meet the timeline. The TG, who's now in charge of the SGO, Comrade Pule Mabe, then took a view with the officials that we should move the meeting forward, so that next week we've got these BGMs starting in earnest. So on Monday, the TG will be able to brief the media to also outline the draft credentials. The good thing about this exercise is that we will be going into these BGMs at least having a sense of the draft credentials that will constitute the 55th National Conference, which really ensures that we have got lesser tension, lesser disputes and all of that. But because in the build-up to the National Conference, you also have got provincial general councils, the expectation is that they would be able to come to the 55th National Conference having developed their own provincial perspectives, whether it's on leadership and whether it's on policy issues. So this is out of us wanting to expedite that process and making sure that the 16th of December will have a smooth, harmonious and peaceful start of the National Conference.
When it comes to this audit that you're going to partake against members, etc., to make sure that they're good standing, right? What exactly would this process entail?
Well, what would have happened is that you'd know some of our provinces would have only had their provincial conferences now. Others are still expected to have, which is the Western Cape and the Western Cape and the Free State. They are still yet to host their own conferences. Now, the audit that we are doing now is that you are now consolidating memberships that would have expired. Say Masego took membership last year in January or last year in March. It means that and you only paid 20 rand. It means that your membership would run up until March, and then at the end of March you would then have that 3 months grace period to renew your membership.
Okay.
So which is March, April, May, June. It means that by the end of June your membership lapses. You know, so now you have to renew your membership for the next year. But if you take a membership for the 5-year period, which most of us usually do, you know that, okay, if I've paid 100 rand, for instance, it then pushes me for 5 years. I can only renew my membership at the end of the 5-year period. So that is the case. So those whose membership would have lapsed and are even beyond the window period, or they know, okay, I'm now on window period, but by the time the window period lapses, it will only be in November. It means by the time I get to the National Conference, my membership will not be in good standing. So they renew for that. So when you audit, you actually look at those renewals and then allocate them accordingly to their respective branches, which now changes their audit. But also because the delegation allocated to conferences is done proportionally. So if Masego's branch is big, it means that you will be incentivized. You will most likely get more numbers of delegates attending from your branch because you are incentivized out of that. So what we have seen, and before you come in, what we have seen out of this exercise is that there's been a great sense of excitement from amongst our members. Almost all of our branches where renewals needed to be done have been done, which tells a story of members who are indeed on this trajectory of renewal and who want to participate in the life of the ANC going into the 55th National Conference.
Well, let me speak to you about this members in good standing. So during the policy conference back in July, the former president, Kgalema Motlanthe, raised concern about this. There was a time the ANC was celebrating how many members it's got at some point with the previous SG, Gwede Mandashe, and then the suspended SG brought those numbers up. And Motlanthe he mentioned an obscene number of members who are not in good standing, and he was saying how during that time that you were looking at just the numbers, it crept in some of those who wouldn't be in good standing and some of those who would bring the party's name into disrepute. So let's speak about that part and what the audit might reveal. Are you not concerned about that?
Well, it doesn't worry us. You see, Masego, what we began doing is that out of the, and this conversation started back in Mangaung in 2012 of the 53rd National Conference. One of the things that we were directed to do by the 54th National Conference of the ANC was to modernize our membership system. So when you modernize our membership, some of the members that we say are not in good standing, it's only because their manual forms have not been captured on the automated membership system. You see, nowadays you can basically go and renew your membership of the ANC at an ATM. So whereas in the past you will need to go through that renewal process together with the branch secretary. So the new automated, modernized system of membership makes renewal more effective. But because you have got over 1 million members, you have now already accounted for more than 800,000 of those who are in good standing. You need to bring all of these files and make sure they are entirely automated. Yeah,
and Pule, just very quickly, as you can see, it's almost time for the end of my show. The nomination process for December, how are you going to deal with this? Because already there are preferences all over the place. I think I saw a poster with your name on it as somebody who can make it to the top 6. So how are you going to make sure that you are able to basically just manage this part, that preferences will come forward more than anything?
Well, the ANC is a democratic organization. Members are given the space to select whomever they believe could be able to become better leaders of the African National Congress. The entirety of the collective that makes up the National Executive Committee, it's 86 men and women, with women constituting 50% or more of that number, with a larger share of young people, of experience, of continuity, and all of that. The new electoral guidelines do allow members to be able to campaign in a manner and way that does not go against our established conventions, where we bar the use of money, we bar the consolidation of factionalism. We want a leadership that will be able to unite the organization. So it's an exciting period for members of the African National Congress, because they are now called upon to be able to go out there and renew their own organization, which is what this process will do. Before I go, Masego, it's also important to mention that this coming weekend, our president will be out in Limpopo on the Letsema campaign. Last week he was in Mpumalanga, and we'll be seeing him visit all other provinces together with all the national officials as well as members of the National Executive Committee. Actually, when we leave this show, we'll be out there in Makshop working with comrades to make sure we prepare the ground for the weekend.
Doing some PR for the ANC now.
No, but that's, I mean, I'm not, it's important because others might not have seen the statement, and because it's going to their own community, we also want them to come and register their own concerns, whether it's on EPWP, it's on jobs,
and I guess
it's on all of the issues.
The other thing that's going to help you manage preferences and all those things leading up to December, some of the policies you have, like the step aside, which of course you also have admitted as a party you need to fix here and there, because some members are right in terms of it only targeting certain people. But thank you very much for
before
your
I go, I don't think that
I
don't think that is very much about targeting. I think it's so much about it being applied consistently.
Exactly.
That is what our members are calling for. And I can tell you the National Executive Committee is heeding the call, working with our structures. We'll make sure that such
Thank you very much for speaking to us. Pule Mabe, the national spokesperson of the ANC. And that's it from my